You are young, you are ebullient, you are smart, you are articulate, and well positioned to springboard, to take instruction in term and direction from myself as a chief diplomat, assisted ably by the minister, and given support by the technocracy led by the acting PS here. And so foreign policy, as you would know, is really an expression of our values, our collective values.
That's true.
So our domestic policy is really reflected in our foreign policy, and our foreign policy is an expression of our domestic policy.
I recall a conversation we had where you said we keep the legal things that we have been taught, but we now input the diplomatic mind, and they did that very ably. So I'm very grateful. I will extend the warm greetings to the Honorable King.
President Masisi has called on churches to be steadfast as active participants in encouraging the building of healthy homes where children are brought up to be future leaders and education systems are strengthened to contribute to nation building. The president was speaking at a courtesy call by the Botswana Council of Churches representatives who pledged their partnership with government. Usidile Ungabedze reports.
Churches and faith-based organizations continue to play a critical role in community development and nation building, a contribution government recognizes and continuously engages stakeholder participation in to fully uphold. Deeply concerned by the prevalence of social ills such as gender-based violence, drug and substance abuse, and declining education, which all ultimately have a bearing on sustainable development, that the church holds the value of partnerships critical to attending to such and ensuring Botswana's progressive development.
Really partners in development, le government. Na le keletso ya ibile re tsweletse ka go dira jalo. Go rulaganya an education symposium. Ka gore tsengwa ke seemo sa thuto le maduo a ganang go toka. Nako ya ngwana buetse mo sekolong. Le khona go bona gore kete le moisa go khotsa lona le ene la go mme hala ha ka di tswalwa ka lebakanyana ha boa kwa o boetse go morago.
We celebrate the advent of the mindset change, particularly the Arichenching Gladion call, and this has our blessing. We are submitting to Your Excellency that maybe it's time that as we talk about Arichenching, it's time that we put this across our sectors and our departments. And in particular, Your Excellency, we are of the opinion that the National Assembly must really have a chaplain.
President Masisi cited the need for structures such as churches to enhance their contributions to education and nurturing better family foundations, which are the very fabric which is the bedrock of nation building.
Every one of us, we're reproducing children who are incompetent in almost every dichotomy of learning, thinking, and feeling. That's what it, and that's where the regression comes from. Yeah. Because these very ones become the public service providers after that. When they grow up, they become our magistrates, our judges, our policemen, our doctors, our nurses, our teachers, our baruti, our scientists, everything. They provide that service, having lived a painful life. So I think we need to look at this very, very clearly. I want to make an ask of you, particularly the schools that you are in charge of. There's nothing wrong with you coming with a program to have youth camps. And then if the school holiday is 2 weeks, perhaps for the week, they are in the school. It may be voluntary, it may be obligatory, but you can attract others who may not even attend that school. But you need to bring in parents. I think the church can do a lot to help us bring parents to attend to their children.
Botswana Council of Churches also made a proposition for the establishment of a Religious and Bodies Act, which would better enhance their contribution to development, as well as ensure best practices in registration, governance, and regulation of churches. Utsidile Ongabetsi, BTV News, Gaborone.
Botswana condemns in the strongest terms the continuing attacks and violence on civilian populations by both sides and calls on the belligerent parties to immediately cease hostilities and seek a negotiated settlement through peaceful means. According to a press release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the unfortunate developments in Israel and Gaza that have led to the loss of innocent civilian lives, including hundreds injured and displaced, as well as massive destruction on property. Botswana is deeply concerned for the civilian population who should be protected in accordance with international law. Botswana calls for an immediate implementation of these agreements and reaffirms its position for a peaceful resolution of the conflict as enshrined in the UN Charter. Standard operation procedures are paramount in mitigating and managing natural disasters. This was revealed by the National Disaster Management Office Director, Mr. Moagi Baliseng, on Monday during the first day of a 5-day National Disaster Preparedness Conference held in Maung. Mpho Aaron with more.
Botswana is a country prone to natural disasters ranging from floods, drought, wildland fires, as well as animal and human diseases with the potential to disrupt lives from normalcy. Government has therefore laid a foundation for a holistic approach in disaster management by the formation of the National Disaster Management Office under the Office of the President. This therefore has drawn attention to the need for a solid, standard operation procedures to be used in the outbreak of any disaster.
Is to ensure that we have a high state of disaster preparedness and capacity building, both at national and district level, and hopefully the district disaster management committees will be able to take such kind of knowledge to the communities across the country, specifically to ensure that we have an effective disaster response, disaster preparedness to the different hazards that we may come across in our various districts.
Since in disaster management, you don't respond alone, you respond with other sectors. If we have a written SOPs, other sectors may be able to follow what you have written. And they also give clear direction of what needs to be done, when, how. So mostly they are supposed to be agreed and approved. So that way it means that they have that quality element.
Different organizations are working on a draft plan which, when completed, will enhance the District Disaster Management Committee's operations.
We also have trained all across the country communities on firefighting, basic firefighting. We have trained quite a number of, unfortunately I don't have figures with me now, but we have trained communities on different aspects of fire management techniques. We also conduct intensified public awareness campaigns through Kutla meetings, stakeholder engagements.
The conference, held under the theme Building Resiliency to Disasters Through Stakeholder Engagement, the key to sustainable development, gathered all district disaster management committees from all over the country, led by district commissioners. Mpho Aaron, BTV News, Maung.
And this now is the end of our news at 8. Thank you very much for tuning in. And of course, remember, we will be crossing over to the Gaborone International Convention Center in just a little bit for the launch of the National Commitment for Adolescent and Young People's Well-Being in Botswana, an initiative by the National Planning Commission, the NPC, in collaboration with the United Nations country team, the UNCT. His Excellency, the President, will be officiating and officially launching this commitment. Right now, we cross over to the sport news with the City Kahagwa.
Thank you, Hana. Let's move right into the sports news at this hour. Well, now, Botswana Swimming Sport Association Treasurer Marcelo Radimo says despite the lack of funds, they are pleased with how the second edition of the Botswana Swimming Sport Association Swimming Gala League went, which was highlighted by a large number of participants that turned up. Khomozo Sefako with the details.
Radimo said from their first gala hosted in Francistown some weeks ago, the Gaborone Gala managed to attract over 2,000 swimmers. He further said they work hand in hand with all stakeholders to make sure that competitions go according to plan.
Around 23rd September, we had our first gala for the season in Francistown. The turnover was pretty low, but it's coming up all right. We see a significant increase in our numbers. So, so we get in there. NSC, which is our mother body, is our main sponsor, has cut down the budget tab. And then, so we get our funding from parents. Swimmers, we have a registration fee, annual fees, which we get from our swimmers. It helps us to host our galas. And then we also get funding from World Aquatics. So it helps to push our calendar.
He further revealed that lack of finances always has a negative impact on national teams' preparations and performance in international events.
Total international trips are very expensive. Like when our next coming World Junior Championships in Mauritius, we have about 11 swimmers going there, but we'd have loved to increase the numbers, just that financially we're struggling. So we end up opted to do self-funds. So Batsadi will contribute a certain amount to augment the little that is there.
As many sporting codes continue to prepare for numerous international events, such as the Olympics and others, BSSA is also preparing for different competitions.
It's enough to get us ready for continental and international events like Bonobody Olympics and the World Champs. We have enough galas. It's a very busy season. It's enough to get us where we need to go.
The BSSA will host 2 more gala events before the end of the year, with the third one to be hosted in Francistown on the 11th of November, before they conclude in Gaborone in December. Joseph Fago, PTV Sport, Gaborone.
And now in the ongoing Holybet COSAFA Women's Championships, which are held in South Africa, the national women's soccer team, the Maize, edged out Lesotho by 3-0 thanks to goals from Lona Gaofetore, Balotlhanye Johannes and Kesogofetse Mochawe. The local ladies have now accumulated 4 points following their 1-1 draw against Namibia last week. Mohambi Saulo's side will now face Zimbabwe in their next Group C encounter tomorrow, with a win set to guarantee them a spot in the semi-finals of the tournament. And now moving on, the organizer for the 9-hole golf tournament, Lami Kenosi, has urged women to partake in the sport in large numbers, as golf is mostly dominated by men. Kenosi highlighted this at the ladies' one-day golf tournament in Gaborone over the weekend, organized by Woman to Woman organization, with the aim of promoting the significance of gender diversity in the sporting world. Khoboletsewang Buisarelo reports.
We want to create inclusivity within the sport because most of the time it's played by men. So we're trying to give that experience to the ladies. We have the women emerging in business. That's why we're having the golf tournament. It's a way of empowering young women to also, and also all the ladies out there who would have never thought that they'll be in the golf course at any day.
I'm quite happy with what happened here today. It's basically what we're looking for, especially when we're looking and talking about women empowerment. What